People say, Matt, you've taught us how to make so many amazing pendants, but they're just pendants and you put them on a cord, and that's, the necklace could have so much more going on besides just the pendant. Like, what do we do? How can we just have a cord? How can you make this cord more exciting? Well, there's a lot of different ways, obviously. You can build a whole necklace going all the way up with all kinds of crazy stuff. You don't need to just put it on a cord, but keep your cord, spice it up the easiest way possible. Just throw some beads on there. Now, there's a couple problems to start out with. First of all, I like this cord. It's 2 millimeter thick. Symmetric people, this is made for you. It's listed as 2 millimeter, no matter where you get it from. So the problem with that is most stones are not drilled with holes big enough. So you have to get beads or stones. You can find some stones that are, but they have to have a hole 2 millimeter or bigger, preferably a little bigger. Now wooden ones are cool because these ones are already big enough, but if wooden one's not big enough, you can take a hand drill, or you can take a little $5 bead reamer, which looks like, if I was prepared, I'd have it ready. Looks like this, and you can often put it in the bead and twist it, and if you're not too reckless like I am, you can open up the hole a lot more without breaking the bead. And then, voila! Suddenly, move out of the way, guys. Suddenly, I have more necklace than I did before. See this? Look at that. Whoa, beads. Now you don't have to have the beads go all the way up. You know, most people don't look in the back of the necklace anyway. If you want, you can have them go all the way up. But if you want to conserve your beads and make a whole bunch and save time, just have them go up a little bit, and that looks super cool if you throw the pendant in the middle there. And then you could just put the pulleys aside, put the jump rings in, boom. The pendant doesn't need to slide on. You could just attach it with jump rings. So you could put the pendant on before or after. Now, to keep these from sliding up and down, look what I did. Look at this ingenious thing I invented. It's called a knot. You tie it right there. The camera doesn't want to show you, but I will show you by making it focus. That's a knot. You tie a knot, and then you could tie another knot just to be decorative. You can tie knots going all the way down. That's one problem solved. Now the other thing is, let's say we take the cord we already have here. Well, we can't put beads on it. This hardware gets in the way. Cut it, put the beads on, now you got to put the hardware back. But we don't have the hardware made for this. You can find these things. I forget what they're called again, but they look like little springs. And buy the ones that are made for 2 millimeter cord. I think this one's made for 3 millimeter. So you can put now I prefer leather cord or woven cotton cord, which is stronger than leather, but it's really cool. But that will fit in there. And let me see. I think I have these in silver too that are more the size. I'm really unprepared today. Oh, here we go. Look at this. This is a silver one. And this is, this one here is, that one is made just for the leather cord. So here's our spool of leather. You can use the cord that you already have, or you can get a cool spool of leather, 2 millimeter. This is waxed round leather. Waxed round. Write that down. So see, it fits in here so cute. And what I do to make it extra, because I have to do everything extra. First of all, I don't like how they do this edge right here. So I pull this sideways, and then I find where the little sharp part is. I don't like that sharp part. I pull it out. Come on, camera, show them how it's done. All right. Pull it out, and then I roll that sharp part into there like I was tucking any other piece. See? Now nothing is sharp, nothing's coming undone, and I feel like it's stronger. Now this part here, you could just put the leather on like this, and then it's just made to crimp. You just crimp the very end. I like to put a little tiny dab of super glue or crazy glue. If you get this kind, get the green cap because it's gel instead of fluid, so it won't run all over your fingers and glue your hands together. And just put a little dab in there, Careful, this stuff will glue the cap to itself. If you get too messy, you got to keep it clean. And then we put this in, put it all the way down. Now, because another good reason for tucking the loop in the way I did is the leather won't come out the other side. It stops. You can feel when it gets to the end. So push it all the way to the end, and then get your regular pliers, and you have to carefully get right on that last edge right there, the part that's sticking out. See if we can zoom in. Of course not. This is low budget. Ah, I zoomed in and slipped. Okay. Get right there and tuck that. Squeeze it, and you can see it. See, it pinched the leather. Between the super glue and that pinch, this thing will be there forever. That's not coming out. And so, you know, do one end, put your beads on, do the other end, boom. And please tell me in the comments what these little spring things are called. I think they're called closures, spring closures or something like that. I think there's like 4 different names for them. Every time I order them, somebody wipes my brain of what the name of them were, and then next time I go to order them, I forget all over again. Here's another cool thing. These metal pieces, I think they're called spacer beads. They usually have a pretty large hole that the 2mm leather will fit through. Now you can get 1mm leather. I wouldn't recommend it because in the past I found it breaks if you pull on it too hard. It's something about the 2mm that's much stronger. Anyway, let's do some. Oh, one more thing. If you don't want to buy those closure things, or you have to, you know, make the necklaces right away and you can't wait for them to come in the mail, you don't have to. You can simply tie a knot on the end. Get a little bit of, you know, get something like a marker or something to hold your loop like that. And then just tie another knot. Just a very, very simple knot. It's like a shoelace knot, like not even. See that simple knot? Now, pull as tight as you can and understand it's going to try to wiggle its way out. And that's why you come back to your glue, super glue, or crazy glue, and jab some of that in there, jab it in every little spot, and then close the cap. And then get, you know, a piece of plastic or a napkin or something and squeeze it, wipe all the extra off so it's not going to rub on your hands and you're not going to glue yourself to your face. And boom, you have a loop. Now, I did that one kind of sloppy. I made it big, but that would be cool for a chunky necklace. And you can make yours really refined and small. You just need a tiny bit of a loop, because then you can attach a jump ring and attach your trusty lobster clasp, which is my favorite clasp. Now, you need to use a lobster clasp. They call this a lobster clasp because that was actually the claw of a real lobster. They catch all these lobsters, they raise them in tanks, and then they cut their claws off and they dip them in silver, and that's how they get all these little lobster claw clasps. It's really terrible that millions of baby lobsters have to die this way, but it makes our jewelry beautiful, and that's what we need. So anyway, there's other kinds of clasps. There's magnetic clasps. There's clasps you can make yourself. There's just a hook. You can make 2 hooks out of wire. Just put them together, crimp them. There's this thing with the circle and this bar thing, and you put through, and then it like catches on the other side. And that has a fancy name. Just ignore what I'm doing if it looks weird. Anyway, let's do. It's always good to have a bead reamer anyway, because, well, the camera doesn't care to show you, but there you go. See this? You can always, if you have a bad hole on one of these wooden beads, simple as pie. Look at that. Voila. Let's see that again. This camera like hates focusing. There we go. And it goes right back out again. What is that? Stay in focus. Oh. Thank you. Another cool thing about wood beads is they take spray paint really well. Just get a cup. Just get a paper cup. Watch this. And you just need the tiniest drop. Maybe 2 little tiny sprays. Put a piece paper on top or another cup or something. Just shake them up. That's it. Watch this. And then you'll find that it speckles it at first. Wow, this thing does not like to focus. I'm gonna get a new camera. So there you see his speckles. Usually it takes more, but just try some more. See that? Get it speckled some more. You know, I'm just going to throw this whole video out if this thing doesn't focus. There we go. You can do red, you can do black. Red and black together tend to make a brown. Or you can do green, you know, you can do all kinds of cool stuff. So you can get a much better variety of colors. And this is just using red, green, and black. I mean, I didn't use yellow, orange. There's so many different, you can blend colors, you can make it look speckled, you can make it look like a different color than you already had. Now, full disclosure, this spray paint will sometimes rub off over time depending on, you know, how acidic someone's skin is or how much they might rub it, especially if you spray paint them over beads that are already with a clear coat. But if you get raw wood and you stain it or paint it, it usually is going to stay permanently. But it looks really cool even when it rubs off. Sometimes it only rubs off on certain areas, and the other areas it stays darker, and that helps it give like a worn look. Looks really cool. All right, now let's finally make some. Okay, this video is very disorganized, but finally I made one. I had to change the pattern several times before I was happy with it. But here it is, and I pushed these about to the middle of the cord, brought the two ends together, right? Got it right where I wanted. And now I'm just going to make a knot against each one to hold the beads in the middle so they don't slide up and down. Super easy. Boom, boom, boom. Now, you might want to leave it a little loose so you can put some jump rings in the very middle if you want to attach a pendant, but that's up to you. Sometimes this stuff is stretchy, you know, a little bit, has a little bit of give. You do not want to use stretch cord for this. Stretch cord is for bracelets because they need to open and close to get over the wrist. Do not use stretch cord for these necklaces because then they tend to like be heavy and stretch out, and someone grabs onto them and they feel flimsy. So stretch cord would be awesome because that would fit in a lot of different stones, but oh, I didn't quite get the middle there. Something happened. Oh well. We'll add some clasp and chain and stuff and make this adjustable. You put some jump rings on there and boom, it's adjustable. You can clasp it to any area. Voila. Those are the two ends that I super glued and crimped really tight. And I put a lobster clasp and jump rings, yeah. Bam! There you go. Look at that. Look at this giant lobster clasp. That's a big one. It's a moment of silence for the nice, beautiful lobster that gave his life to give us a couple of these clasps. So now you can clasp it on any of these links and make it longer or shorter. You could link a chain, make it go even further. Let's keep going. Bam! Look at that, arrowhead. And this reminds me of the very first video I made, which was actually an arrowhead with a beaded leather necklace like this. Go back and look for my videos all the way at the back. It's called Episode 1, EP number 1. Very first video. I've come a long way since then. Back then it was all chaos and craziness. And I wrote a song just for that one first video. It's in there. Nowadays, the chaos and craziness is the same, but the videos are like 20 times longer and more drawn out and more absurd. Bam! But really, these bracelets are so cool. I mean, I call them bracelets. These necklaces are so cool that you don't need to put a pendant on it. You can just wear them as is. Some people like them just like that. It's like real simple. You can make a whole bunch of them. You can layer them. You can have them tiered. Like one a little bit longer than the next, a little bit longer than the next, without the pendants. Super amazing. Combinations, the patterns, endless. And we'll start by having the coolest person ever model them.